Hello everybody. So I just wrote a rather long blog post and I think it will be rather boring for some people because it's like 6 minutes long actually to read the entire thing. So I will just read it out for you guys. Okay, here we go. It is finally 2018 and that can only mean one thing: new FLCL. The release date is still unknown, but if it's anything like the original, then it would be a spring anime. That would mean it would be out in 3 months. And as the clock is ticking, I am getting more and more skeptical about one detail: the gender of the new protagonist. You see, this new FLCL is going to be taken from the point of view of a girl, when the director is a guy. Let me just express my concern as a die-hard fan for 7 years. Quoting from the PS2 game Persona 3, when Aigis first joins, and when you ask Ikutsuki why this robot is given a female body, his answer was something like, if she were in the form of a tank instead, then she would think like one. Basically, what he's saying is, you tend to act depending on how you look. In the original FLCL, the mastermind behind the 12-year-old boy was a young man in his early 30s. It was a relatable task for him, as well as the other key staffs, which consisted of mostly males, to develop this little boy's personality, for they were once just like this kid themselves. They know what goes through the mind of a prepubescent boy from memory, and may have a general idea of how this boy will grow up into. It's safe to say that Naota Nanaba's entire life could be planned out by them, or at least it is possible for them to forecast his future actions. But now we're going to experience the bizarre events of Mabase through the eyes of a teenage girl. You may be thinking it will turn out fine, just like in FLCL Episode 3 Maraba, where Eri Nanamori temporarily took the stage. But the episode structure of FLCL is like so. Episodes 1, 2 and 3 is something like a Season 1, while Episodes 4, 5 and 6 are Season 2. In Season 1, us audience are basically introduced to the 3 main female characters of the show. Each of them are given a turn. So that's her whole function. In other words, not as the protagonist. Naota still narrated the episode. His role did not change. Now, there could be a solid reason for a female character. First of all, if this new FLCL is indeed the official end, then Hidomi is the final victim of Haruko, judging by the little info we are given. But what makes her so special is the 2 victims before her are guys. So Haruko played a similar role as a lover. But what happens if it's a girl? It may be harder for Haruko to enter her life. Mayumi Shintani said in an interview in Anime Expo 2016 that it would be interesting if Hidomi and Haruko also ends up in a romantic relationship. When you create a character, to some degree you are the character. Basically, Kazuya is Naota, or at least once. I'm older now, so I am no longer Naota. I relate to his dad more. So perhaps from the mind of the director, they want to challenge themselves further. The next hardest project would be to become a girl. Now don't get me wrong, Serial Experiments Lain, Ghost in the Shell and Alien 9 are among my top animes of all time, and they all contain female leads that are created by men. When the director of Alien 9 is asked why he decided to use girls instead, he said something like, "It's pitiful to see girls go through such things." Now, I love the idea of girls taking on guy roles. For example, in Avatar: The Last Airbender, people were generally expecting Aang's earthbending teacher to be a big, tough older guy, but it turns out to be a young, tiny, blind princess. It was a pleasant surprise. With the exception of Motoko, both Lane and Yuri are young, petite children. Just like in Persona 3 Portable, you get to choose to play a girl. I never owned a PSP, so I did not play the female version, but I've watched enough playthroughs of the game on YouTube, and it's safe to say that something's missing. It just feels incomplete. Getting advice from female staffs wouldn't suffice. Speaking of incompleteness, in Haunting Ground, a player once said, "It feels like a 12-year-old boy created this 17-year-old girl. They're just having fun turning Fiona into some sexual toy." I've watched enough animes on heterosexual love, and I have to point out one thing. Generally, when a female director creates a love story, her idea on a guy is an inaccurate portrayal of how actual guys think. Likewise, when a male director creates a love story, his idea on a girl is also rather off. It is cringy for a girl to watch a love story by a guy, and vice versa, cringy for a boy to watch a love story written by a girl. Technically, I feel that Naota is like a real boy, and main girls like Lane, aren't real good enough. Because, like I've said, Naruto was developed by men, whilst female characters like Lane and Yuri were developed by men also. Basically, I just want to say that it's risky, man. It's risky. Because original FLCL is targeted towards mature male audience, particularly Japanese males, since Tsurumaki did not expect it to have an international appeal. A big part of the original FLCL revolved around Naruto's physical maturity, which constitutes to his mental growth. This is more apparent in the manga from start to finish. No way in hell can a girl talk from experience on this topic. Therefore, no way in hell can a guy talk from experience on female physical and mental development if this new FLCL is going to touch on the theme of coming of age as well, that is. Which I'm pretty certain to some extent it will, no? If it's not, then tell me, for the next 6 hours of this anime, what is it going to be about, man? Gender has never really been something I think about personally, but I just basically use whatever interests me and incorporate it into my life. But when you actually sit down and think about it, you kinda involuntarily act upon it at the end of the day. But I've always trusted Tsurumaki in his many works outside FLCL, so I still have some hope left, despite him just being a supervisor this time round. Bring it on, Hidomi. Let me see what you got as a female myself. So that is what I wrote on the blog. Comment down below what you think about having new FLCL's main character being a female, because I'm actually really worried about it. Okay, that's all. Bye bye.